Making of America, Chapter 1, Lesson 1, an Introduction to Making of America. So our course at Ramsey, we obviously follow people's health, Norman conquest, that makes up paper 1. Then we have the history around us paper, which is focused on Headingham Castle. Then we have our paper 3, which is world history. We look at Making of America, and then we look at living under Nazi rule. So our Making of America course covers 5 different chapters. So we've been focusing on chapter 1 first of all. And if you notice, all the different chapters have obviously different focuses in terms of look at the first bit of the course. Then we look at the fact that the whites start to head west. Then we look at 2 different conflicts, so North versus South over slavery. Then we look at the conflict over in the West to do with the Indians and the whites. And then our last chapter, chapter 5, brings it kind of like all together, and it's us obviously assessing the amount of change that's happened in terms of white America, the Indians and black America. So we start with our introduction, and we obviously start with us getting our heads around quite a lot of terminology. We obviously see a lot about America on the news, in films, in TV, but actually how much do we really understand about things like their political system and how their country has grown out of its independence. So really good little picture just for us just to get our heads around first of all. And this picture itself starts to show us kind of like the different types of people that there are in America. So predominantly this picture shows us white Americans. Why? Because it's focused on obviously the, kind of like the government system, and that was dominated by white Americans. And then we have some Native Americans, Indigenous people, Indians, lots of terminology about the same kind of like essential racial group. And then we also have, as I said, in terms of different races, you have to look quite carefully at this picture. Somewhere in there is an African American. As I said, you have to look very, very carefully to be able to find. So first things first, who runs the country? It's run by a president. The first ever president of America was George Washington. One of the big things that we're going to see as a theme running through this is the idea of obviously slavery and what that means in America. It doesn't help that the presidents themselves obviously are associated with slavery. America was born from its fight against the British, and its declaration of independence is obviously key to what makes America American. You would have heard multiple times the concept about liberty and freedom and the pursuit of happiness, as it says there, and democracy. America very much sees itself as being kind of like the democratic role model of the world. So when America was established, it had to obviously set up a brand new country. So it had its founding fathers, i.e. those people that literally founded it, the father of the nation, a group of men who set up the Declaration of Independence and then set up the Constitution, the set of laws. Right, so there's some information about the Constitution. America has a Congress. It does not have a parliament. It doesn't use that term. It uses the term Congress. President we've mentioned already. Remember, he's voted in. It's a democratic process every 4 years. The Supreme Court. This is the court that decides whether things are right or wrong in terms of laws. We will come across the Supreme Court a lot when it comes to African Americans. The states, remember, there are 50 states now. There definitely was not 50 states when it was first created. There was only 13. Remember, we're going to see the introduction and the development of all those kind of like different states at different time periods, and that's kind of like going to be a big theme running through our course. But before you are a state, you become a territory. Again, some information there. So the people, white Americans, makes you understand what it means by white Americans, what they're judged by. The Indians, Said you can say Indians, Native Americans, Indigenous people, lots of terms. Again, make sure you understand who they are. And remember what I said about that picture to begin with? Did you spot top right corner? Again, Black Americans, African Americans, make sure you understand what all of that means as well. So chapter 1 has its big focus about growing tensions, i.e. it's a brand new country, but was it going to be happily ever after? One of the big things that we don't really understand living in Britain is the size of America. Look at that vastness. And that's only, trust me, a tiny bit of America. That's part of something called the Appalachian Mountains, which is over here in the east. So America begins over here on the east, and it will head westwards. Right, that's our course. So we've got some different ideas about kind of like how America expanded and different views about America expanding. Right, we know it begins with 13 states. It's not going to end with 13 states. We know that already. We know it's a series of settlement, territory, statehood, America. So last bit for us just to look at in our introduction is this great map down at the bottom. There you go. It names the original 13 states in dark blue, all along the eastern seaboard. Nice easy ones to learn, things like South Carolina, North Carolina. I'd learn those two, nice easy ones, and you can use those quite a lot for our course. Then America grows. You can see that on the map. You can see different states being added at different times. Pick states that you can spell. I'm a big fan of MISSISSIPPI myself. But look, that's not America. The bit that I'm showing you at the moment, that's not America. Look, bits claimed by Spain, right? That's California, that's going to be California in 1850. Bits claimed by Spain, then France, then eventually bought by America in probably one of the biggest bargains ever. But we'll come across that in the next lesson. All right, introduction, done.